feels much less enjoyment. Total advantage that's with fate. Under these enemies of the state. AAG, navigate lawyer.
Evening to everyone, a pleasant evening to everyone. You're listening to Azad Gums. I am the host of Unfiltered, Deputy Political Leader of the People's Action Movement, and now I can say the candidate for constituency number 4, the People's Action Movement. And I have with me in studio our political leader, Natasha Shani Greybrooks, who is the candidate for constituency number 1. And in studio with me as well is Nubian Greer, who is the candidate for constituency number 2 for the People's Action Movement. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to both of you to another episode of Unfiltered.
Thank you, Azad.
Thank you very
it's a
much.
pleasure being here. And good night to all those listening and viewing online.
Yes. So it has been quite some time. I know that last week we had our convention. It was Convention 59, and a part of the Convention 59, we had the announcement of candidates. We had our political leader giving the general public her team thus far. So we have the political leader here. So political leader Greybrooks, how are you feeling coming off of Convention 59? It would be your first convention since your first year as a political leader. How has that been for you?
This week has been an exciting one, coming off the heels of the convention, releasing the first set of candidates that will be vying for the next general elections, and that in and of itself came with its own level of excitement because since I became the political leader, people have been asking, when is Pam going to announce candidates? Who is the candidate for this constituency, etc., etc. So it's not that there was some sort of bending to pressure or anything like that, but we have to listen to what the people are saying, to listen to what the people are asking for. And at some point in time, we just, 2 months or so, we'll be heading to the 3-year mark of this Labour administration, which means we just have just about 2 years or less for an election, and it's time to get ready. This week I have been reading a number of posts on social media. I've been looking at the different media houses, and I can say to you, Azad and Nubian, Pam is trending. And it is trending in a positive way, and I am happy that both of you are on my team. And since this is the first time I'm here at winnfm since you have been announced, let me say, on winnfm, congratulations, Mr. Gums, on your candidacy, and congratulations, Mr. Greer, on your candidacy.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you.
For anyone who's listening, don't think that your surname has to begin with a G to be a candidate.
Oh, wow, yes, it
I recognize that, but once you come with the different, the mindset, once you come with a certain level of integrity, commitment, hard work, drive, if your surname does not begin with a G, you are welcome on board. And so listen out, because we will be unveiling the rest of our team in the future. And so persons who are interested to come on board, because the People's Action Movement is an inclusive party, and we are all about the people.
Yes, thank you, political leader Greybrooks. In fact, when you said the G, I just recall your name as well. It begins with G, your last name, so
Exactly.
It's great. So it's Grey, Greer, and Gums.
Oh, yes.
Yes, it's the 3 Gs. And of course, we have also our lone parliamentarian, the Honorable Dr. Sean Richards, who is also part of the team. So we have 4 candidates already announced and ready to contest the next general election. Nubian, since this is your first time on Unfiltered, since you've been announced as a candidate, how has it been for you?
It has been like no other. The reception from the People's Action Movement has been immaculate, very welcoming. from the community. Up to this afternoon, I was on my way home, and somebody stopped me. But that's a good move. That's a good move, you know. You got my full support, and you got the full support of my family. So it has been welcoming. It has been good. We have been making plans to start our canvassing early. There's a lot of work to do, and there's a lot of work to undo in the community. So I know it is a lot of work, and we are ready to do the work. The team that we have in place is ready to do the work, and we welcome everyone who wants to help to undo and bring some sort of normalcy to our community, our constituency, and think it's on a whole.
Yes, I must say too, from the group in constituency number 4, we have a new executive as well. The
Right.
executive has been working. I have met with the chair of the executive and several members of the executive, and I could assure our political leader that number 4 will be returned in the hands of the People's Action Movement very shortly. And so number 4, we are working. I've already started visiting homes of persons within the constituency, touching base with individuals, because we have to ensure that we put people first. We have to ensure that people are always the center of our focus, because the People's Action Movement continues to be a party that continues to put the people of St. Kitts and Nevis first. And you know, we've been in existence for 60 years as a party, and of course, there are some persons who like to use the rhetoric that the People's Action Movement is dead. But based on last week and based on what our political leader has just said and what persons have been looking at, the People's Action Movement is trending and trending upwardly. And I could even recall in 1975, when the People's Action Movement contested a general election, it lost. And then no sooner than it did, in 1980, we gained the number of seats necessary. And then from 1980, 1984, we got 6 out of the 8. In 1989, we got 6 out of the 8. And so those persons who doubt the People's Action Movement and doubt the power of the people can be rest assured that we are working to ensure that the party builds from strength to strength. So, political leader, I know that there are some persons out there who might want to know the plans of the party. Would you like to share them at this point in time, what they can expect the party doing from this moment forward?
Well, one of the first order of business is continuing, well, at least in my constituency, but seeing that we have 2 new candidates, is making sure that we connect with people. And it's not just our people, we are connecting with everyone, because we have to save this nation. We have to hear what the concerns are and see how best we can address them, not just as a political party, but as a team aiming to go into government. Oftentimes you hear people complain that the politicians don't listen, they only answer the phone during election time. Sometimes you call them, you can't get them. And these are the things that we need to eradicate from the minds of our people. We need to make our people feel the compassion. We need to help our people understand that there are persons out there who care for them and who really want to see them thrive. And so I know that both of you have committed to going out in the constituencies, getting a plan in place. But what I want to say is that it must be a robust plan, one that remains people-centered. Because coming from the people, you will get what the people need. You will understand what the cries are, and we will be able to shape some of our policies to be able to basically solve some of the problems that we have in the different constituencies. What might be an issue for you in constituency number 4 may not necessarily be the same thing for Nubian in constituency number 2. And I don't know how diverse your constituency is. I mean, I'll be visiting a little bit more often, yes, so that I can learn myself. But I'm quite certain Nubian have persons from different walks of life within constituency number 2. He's going to have to teach me Spanish every Monday from now on. I don't know where he's going to find the time. But he's going to, he's going to teach me the basics.
Yes.
I know a few things here or there. I did Spanish in high school, but I dropped it. If I had known, I would have really taken it seriously. But first order of business, the people. We recognize that unemployment has been a concern for persons. We need to look at creative ways for job creation, resolving this issue of unemployment, how best we can diversify our economy, because sometimes when we recognize it with COVID, when you become too reliant on one industry, there are situations where we find ourselves desperate and crumbling, and we don't want that. We've seen what COVID has done to us. It had a lot of bad, but it also had some good. But we should learn from our mistakes. We want to, not just talk the talk, but we want to walk the walk. And I think too often we've been hearing small businesses crying. We've been hearing that businesses closed down for lack of capital, for the economy being slow. I mean, if anyone is honest with themselves in terms of what has been happening in relation to our economy in the past 3 years, we would recognize that our economy is lagging way behind, and persons are struggling to make ends meet, and we don't want that kind of system where our most vulnerable people find themselves basically, I don't even want to say at prison's door, but find themselves in situations where they feel like they have no choice. And so we have to save this nation. We have to save this nation by listening to our people, finding creative means to get the unemployment situation resolved, creating opportunities so that we can diversify our economy, and building St. Kitts Nevis again. And so we have to do this together. We can't say, okay, as I'm going to deal with constituency number 4, New Bengal deal with constituency number 5, Shining on deal with number 1, whatever. It's a job that we all have to get our hands dirty, and where Azad may not be able to do something, we lift him up, because it's all about inclusivity and all about what is best for St. Kitts and Nevis.
Thank you, political leader. In fact, I am so glad to be a part of the team. I know that the people around this table who sit with me have the best interests of St. Kitts and Nevis at heart, and I know together we can make St. Kitts and Nevis, I don't want to say, use the phrase great again, but we can make it prosperous again. We know under the Jew-led administration, it has not been going quite well. In fact, I think that there are fractions within his team. Persons talk about persons being the Jew Labour, the Douglas Labour. Even before there was the Labour administration that took office, there was the fight for leadership. We know that Dr. Denzel Douglas at that point in time was the leader of the Labour Party pre-2022, and that he, based on his actions and his responses, intended to be the leader for some time. And in fact, you remember when he said that, there was a voice note going around saying that they can't expect him to contest for political leadership, where him, Douglas, will not be the first one. No one has ever there's never been a competition, and he won't be the first one to compete in such a competition, and therefore he withdrew himself. And then we had 3 competitors. Dr. Drew won out of them, and then the fraction and had arisen. Whereas in the People's Action Movement, we didn't have that. We had persons supporting our political leader, Natasha Gray Brooks, uncontested, because of the support that the party would have given to you, political leader Nubian. The political leader spoke about a number of things, and of course no constituency is the same. I know we spoke about areas that the constituency number 2 might be necessary and needed. What are some of your plans for constituency number 2?
That's a big question. That's a mouthful. But at any rate, in my constituency, it's diverse.
Yes.
There is the Kittian vote, there's the Spanish vote, there is the Jamaican vote, there's the Guyanese vote. We have a lot of different nationalities in Central Bastia. And so we have to be able to reach all of these people and make them feel welcome. Those are our citizens, our residents who decided to make St. Kitts their home. And so the needs of the residents isn't the same needs of the citizens, you know? And so we need to be able to make our message an inclusive message and let them know that the People's Action Movement will be fighting for everybody that decides to make St. Kitts their home, whether it's by birth or they made the decision and came here to live and enjoy St. Kitts just as much as us. And so housing has always been an issue in Central Bastia. We are locked in between the sea and the mountain, and constituency number 3 and constituency number 1 and constituency number 8. And it's a fairly large constituency, one of the larger ones. We have about close to 6,000 registered voters, so it's a lot of ground to cover. And Central Bastia, below the bypass road, is densely populated, and so there are lots of families living down there, and we have struggled with crime, we have struggled with space, land space in people yards. So people want housing, they need opportunities, and so it's providing that sort of leadership for the citizens and residents of Central Bastia and making sure that we supply them with enough opportunities, because opportunities in Central Bastia has always been scarce. We don't get opportunity. Well, at this point in time under this Jew administration, there's no opportunities for no one. You know, they travel overseas, they come back, and they come back with nothing else but bills and receipts. That's the only thing they come back from overseas with. A pile of bills and a pile of receipts and nothing to offer neither the people of Central Bastia nor the people of this federation. And so it is time for us to go out and work for the people of this federation. It's time for us to go and get grants and get opportunities and scholarships for our people. Other countries are doing it, and we're just out there clowning about without taking the people's business serious. If you look at what Jews spent to go to Nigeria, which is in excess of $600,000, Mia Motley gave her accountability statement where she spent $1.something million in 7 years, and this administration spent 600 in 2 weeks. And is that normal? Is that something we should be proud of?
Well, for some people, they are proud, Nubian, because I made a post this week about the traveling, and I saw the attack. People come out, permanent secretaries come out and post under my posts. It's like, we are not supposed to speak. They compared a trip, my personal trip, to a trip that is being taken by government officials.
Yeah, nonsense.
You see, they're defending because they know what they're defending. Those
singing for the
persons are
supper.
benefiting.
Yes, of course.
So
of
they
course.
must benefit, whereas the majority of the Kittitians division population are not. Many persons are suffering. Many persons can't wait until the next election comes. You
Yes,
tell them we got
yes.
2 more years out there, they tell you so long.
This government would get a shock. Well, I don't even think it would be a shock, because for me, I believe, like in Central Bastia, our representative in Central Bastia doesn't give up. We don't see them. We don't see her. We don't see. There's no presence, no progress at all in Central Bastia, none whatsoever. And so, back to the statement, you see countries going out and fighting for their people. Who is out there fighting for us? Who is out there making sure the poor man get through? Who out there making sure our citizens and residents are safe? Who out there providing opportunities for our children? I made a statement the other day on the next radio station, said the Prime Minister studied in Cuba. And we don't send the amount of people necessary to Cuba. And we got a lot of people here who want them opportunities. And they sit on it and hide it and make sure that we don't get them.
Yeah.
And that is wicked. That is wickedness to the maximum.
And there are some persons who, for whatever reason, disagree with the actions of this Labour administration, but are fearful to speak out because they know if they speak out, that's it for them.
Yeah, the petty government, I mean, you should be able to speak. There is criticism and there is constructive criticism. If I am doing something wrong, I prefer you tell me, hey, Nubian, look, this is what you're doing there, it's not correct, and we fix it up and we deal with it properly. But you can't talk to them at all. Anytime anybody speak to them, you get put in the naughty corner. Look how much of the people them, and the funny thing is, look how much of the people them right now beating them and bringing them down. People who fought for them, fought tooth and nail, have been on the campaign trail, and because they don't look anyway, people would sit down and talk and say, boy, yeah, it's Labour here, and they say, boy, this is what's happening here. And we go and we talk and we converse, and right now, over half of them saying, Nubian, I can't come out right now because they're going to pressure me. But sure enough, come next election, I'm going to be out there with you. When they can't hold me, and they can't pressure me, and they can't fight me down anymore. Because it's Labour killing Labour right now. So that's why they call them, this the pink Labour and there's the red Labour. The Douglas Labour is the red Labour. So the pink Labour right now trying to kill the red Labour.
In fact, I have experiences, so many people want to support, but they rather stay on the sideline, and they say that they're going to let their vote speak because they don't want to come out, because many of them have jobs in the public sector. They know the type of tyranny that Labour imposes on persons who speak out against them. We have Dr. Alexander, a strong supporter last election for the Labour Party in the Juliet administration, now speaking out against Labour. We have DJ Marisha, again a mouthpiece for Jew and Labour. The last election, now speaking out against Labour. We got Big Lice, who was in support of Jew and Labour, now speaking out against Labour.
Yes.
And there are some persons who continue to have radio programs promoting Labour because they know what they benefit from that administration. So it doesn't care what the people is suffering. You ain't care what the people happening to the people.
Once their pockets are being filled.
Yes.
And they have a personal benefit. To hell with the rest of the country.
Well, most times, if you look at it, all of those persons who have programs and out there shouting Labour, 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 they are getting paid. It's a paid activity. Listen, every week I need you to do X, Y, and Z, and you receive X, Y, and Z. That's what it is.
And some of them will have received their position because of their support. So they know if their support is withdrawn, so their position is also. Look at the people them who supported them. Big Lice, he supported them. He started to speak out against them.
And
removed from. Look at Jeffrey Marisha, started to speak out against them, and the action dismiss again. And so if that occurs to those persons who supported them, then imagine the average person out there are in fear that if they speak out, they're going to be victimized. And so we will continue to speak for the people of St. Kitts and Nevis.
Most definitely.
We just encourage them to come out on election day and vote for the hat.
You have to be fearless. If you're convinced and your conviction is that poor people gotta get help, you gotta become fearless. If you believe in helping people, if you believe in progress, if when you're done do your walkthrough, even before you do your walkthrough and you meet people in the different constituencies, you go to the house, you sit down on the step, you go in the living room, dining room, kitchen, and have conversations with them and see where they live, the conditions, what they're eating. You gotta become fearless. If that don't touch your heart and make you become fearless, then nothing else can't.
I was just telling Azar, but I mean, this is a little on this side. I was telling him that I was watching a movie before I came here, and some of it resonated with me
Right.
in terms of what people here on the ground are experiencing.
Yes.
When you hear of the mothers leaving their children at home at nights to ensure that they could at least have a bread and tea and a sausage
Tomorrow
in the morning.
Yes, yes.
When you
yes.
hear of the guys who are accustomed to work construction, know that they have their child support to meet at the end of the week. Some of them going to the supermarkets and do bagging. They don't really want to do it, but because of the fact that the construction industry was so, it went down under this administration.
Yes, yes.
Some people, they will tell you, Miss Gray, may really want to do some of the things we are doing,
Yeah.
but
I have to.
it's how the country running.
Yes, yes.
And the Dr. Drew-led administration, while in opposition, seem to have had all the answers. And now they are without any action. I mean, they talk about transparency, and we just learned about the deal with the Christoph Harbour. And this Labour administration has something consistent. They leave information out that they said that they were going to speak about. They talk about the last administration and transparency, and they leave out details. I remember that a couple of years ago when they first came into office, they talk about Dr. Hanley, and Labour spoke about the smart homes, talk about the Trinidadian company. And when persons ask about the contract, because the homes affect everybody, is a public good if you could build homes for the citizens.
Right.
I could recall the Attorney General saying that there might be some trade secrets in that contract, and so certain things can't be discussed. And again, we realized that after that contract had been signed or whatever, no homes built by East Coast. Again, now we have Christoph Harbour. You ask about the purchase and sale agreement, and they're asking why you need to see it, why you have to know about it, and it's a lack of transparency. And this administration campaign on making more transparent these transactions. And I like to say, if it is that you are the champion of the people, and you have gone into relations and you're doing whatever on behalf of the people, if it's a good negotiation,
What's to hide?
what's to hide?
Right.
Exactly.
Right. If it is genuine, if it is the truth, the whole truth and nothing else but the truth, then there should be nothing at all to hide. Listen, this is what we're doing. This is how it's being done. This is who doing it, and this is what the cost, and it's expected to last. The duration of it should be 24 months, whatever it is. Nothing there to hide.
You look at the pension too, and civil servants now have to accept or reject an offer in short time. And so some of them are still crunching the numbers,
But
trying to work out if it's a benefit or a loss.
Is there the availability to accept or reject, or the government just forcing it down your throat?
It's for me, this administration, they said all kind of things when they were in opposition. But now that they are there in government and people are trying to hold their feet to the fire,
Yes.
it's like you're basically accused of trying to kill them, and you don't want them to operate in a manner. And I mean, and there are a select number of persons who are singing the same chorus, but the ordinary man and woman wants to know what is happening.
Yes.
They want to understand how these people are holding themselves accountable. What's so wrong? What's so hard? When people ask these questions, why are we so afraid to basically tell the truth? It like it is. And Azad, you spoke about the East Coast housing. I mean, I'm going to talk about it continuously, and I don't care who's upset, because when you visit a family and they said the bathroom facilities are not the best, they are on the outside, and they had hope that at least by the end of 2023, early 2024, their situation would have improved. And calls to Dr. Hanley go unanswered. How am I supposed to feel? How am I supposed to feel knowing that a female has to either journey outside at 2 a.m. in the morning if she wants to use the facilities, or in a closed area do what she has to do whilst others are sleeping? That cannot be acceptable. And, they're saying that they have not lost any money. But our people have lost progress. Our people have lost home security. Our people have lost the opportunity to have something that they can call their own. That is a lot. That is a lot. What about the contractors who may have done some sort of work on these foundations that are all around the island? What about the tilesman who did something but are waiting to be paid? Have they told us what has happened to Mr. Singh? If they reached him? What is the progress on the file at the Financial Intelligence Unit? Are they telling us these things? Or we are not important? We don't need to know. Just shut them up. That can't be acceptable. So I am going to hold their feet to the fire, if at nothing else, at that.
Yes, and as you talk about Dr. Hanley, who's in your constituency, so too, I could talk about Samuel Duggins. Samuel Duggins has proven himself to be the most incompetent minister on the team. And it's everything, he drops the ball. He's the minister of sports, and we realize that within his ministry, things aren't happening. Even basic things that happen every year has been postponed or cancelled. I remember Duggins, at some press conference earlier, said that the inter-school championships are going to be postponed. I said that it was going to be a cancellation. What month are we in now? We're in June. Have there been inter-school? Is there going to be inter-school this year? And so the minister is absent of thoughts, guidance. How can someone who is so not in touch with the people, lead the people, not in touch with his ministry, be the primary and focused top individual for that ministry? We look at the constituency. And in the constituency 4, infrastructure is a problem. You look at the roads, and I keep talking about the roads because you got New Guinea, they need proper roads. You got Halfway Tree, they need proper roads. You got Conyers, they need proper roads. Some places in Lambers need proper roads resurfacing. You look at Green Tree Project, roads needed there.
But
I could go on and on in my constituency.
Let us give him a pass on that one, because in all fairness, he could say he's not the Minister of Infrastructure or Public Works. But what about the farmers? That's supposed to be charged with the duty of food security. What about the youths them that want to become farmers? The opportunities that were supposed to be provided for them. Because a lot of youths that on the street just waiting in limbo for something to happen. And nothing, it ain't everybody gonna be proactive and come and say, boy, I'm going in the bank and I'm trying to get some money. And we gotta come to them where they are and say, hey, come from there. Come over here. This is progress over here. Get a little loan, we can provide you with land, and you can get some guidance from the agriculture department, so you could open a farm. We need more broccolis, we need more avocados, we need more this, we need some more that, and that's a niche market for you, right there.
But Nubian, you said that he's not the Minister of Public Works or Infrastructure, but let me tell you, if you are the Minister of Public Works and Infrastructure, and I am as the representative from constituency number 4, bet your life you're going to be sick of me, because I'm going to be knocking on your door talking about the people of constituency number 4 who need roads. So I do not take that is an excuse for him because he does not seem to care in terms of not the Congress Maynard, Public Works Minister right now, spoke about a number of developments when it comes to the roads. I listened attentively. Not one time did he mention any roads in Constituency 4. And I said to myself, well, Samuel Duggins isn't in cabinet. When these things are being discussed and proposals being passed, does he not say to his cabinet colleague, well, people in number 4 want roads, you know?
Yes.
And people in number 4 does vote too. You understand? And people of number 4 need opportunity to access proper roads to get to their homes. I am wondering if there's no discussion there. And so, I will continue to speak for the people of number 4 when it comes to infrastructure, when it comes to housing. Whoever has that ministry on the team, they will continue to hear about me, and the people of number 4 needed these things for them.
But when when you're working with a bunch of people who are not people's persons, you must end up where we end up right now. It for me, they don't see it as a moral obligation to every day make sure somebody's life change for the better.
Because as I just spoke about, if people in number 4 don't vote too, you have a number of people, little people who we are supposed to be looking out for, traversing the roads in constituency number 4.
Yes.
They're going, as I tell me what the names of the schools are, Bronte Welch, you have Childs,
Tyrrell
Williams. These children, okay, yes, they have parents, but we say the youth are our future. They are going through the roads, they are coming from Conyers, they are coming from Labans, they are coming from the different communities within constituency number 4, and we want to ensure that they have an education. Why should it be a problem for them? Why should they have difficulty? Yes, I understand that things take time, but you have heard the cry. Well, I don't know if they've heard the cries.
They have ignored the cries.
But you see, they insulate themselves. And that's the first thing they do. They insulate themselves from anything and everybody. So, as you rightly said, Madam Leader, we don't know if they're hearing the cries because they're living in a bubble right now where everything seems to be okay, everything seems to be normal. And so, people out there crying, they ain't hearing it, they ain't seeing it because they ain't feeling it.
Yeah.
They ain't know what it feels like to go to the supermarket and you got Jimmy shift between I can buy butter or I can fry some chicken fat to get some oil. Or I can do this or I can do that. Because you can't do everything. Because they already get the little 33% increase. And nothing else increase out there. So it's like the captain on the ship is sinking and they make sure they jump off first to make sure that they're set. But the rules in navigation out there in the real life dictates that the captain and crew jumps off last. Those are the last to be saved. Because what? They have a responsibility to make sure everybody in their charge is safe. But they put on the life vest, choke the dinghy them and jump off. As the man said, if you can't afford Kellogg's cornflakes, then buy a cheaper one. Make sure you could swim. Who can't swim, drown. And that is what the Labour Party has given to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. If you can't swim, drown.
They have saved themselves before they save anybody else.
You know, I made an appeal to Dr. Drew.
Do we have a caller? Caller, you're live on Unfiltered. Caller?
Yes, good evening, man. How you guys doing tonight?
I'm good, we're good.
Good evening.
How are you, Burl?
Yeah, pretty good. Yeah, quick question. How are you guys going forward, right? How are you guys going to handle any adversary? Like, you know, if anything comes up that's negative towards the party or any candidates up, how are you guys going to deal with situations like that? Because I know there might be some, you know, out the blue sometime, you know, somebody might bring up something from way back then. Just because one of you guys is now announced to be candidates. You know, you just all of a sudden you see something come up out the woodworks. How are you guys, going to handle such things like that? And we noticed at the convention last week or whenever that was, two candidates, you and Nubian, was announced. Why didn't you guys fill up the slate one time? Why isn't the slate filled up one time? I mean, suppose the Prime Minister called the election tomorrow. What are you guys going to do? Are you guys really fully ready? And for Nubian, right? This is just a quick advice. I would ask him to, any questions that come up, just answer it directly. Get it out the way. I don't care. If somebody asks you what color is your underwear is and it's blue, just say it's blue and keep it moving. You know what I'm saying? And also for Nubian, right? We noticed that that's a Spanish last name, right? Nubian, is that correct?
No, it's a French last name. Sorry, it's Nubian Greer. So it's
French. Okay. So is there any way you can give us some background, some of your family background in terms of your origins and whatever. And me personally, I have an issue that I've been pondering on, and I want to put this to Azad and the leader of the party, who are the legal minds, and it's the Bryan Clause. I think it might be in Section 27 of the Constitution. I stand corrected. I was looking at that today, and the first statement that I realized that clause is saying is pertaining to persons who were born outside of the Federation and their parents who was born outside the Federation. It didn't state anything about a natural born citizen. Is there any way at some point we can get some type of clarification in this Bryan Clause? Because not just myself, but persons in the diaspora is thinking about running and they want to get that
Carl,
clarity.
before you go on, I think when Dr. Richards was here at one point in time, he would have given a response to that before. I recall previously where it is that Dr. Douglas had a diplomatic passport with Dominica. It was a matter of the court whereby the question was whether or not he had allegiance to a foreign body or foreign state. And so I think when you make that mention of, being able to sit or run for parliament here, it's a matter of concern as it relates to the question of allegiance.
Okay, can we stick a pin right there? So this is what I'm going to counteract you and say right now. Whenever our leaders take the oath and they put their hands on the Bible and raise their hands, the words that they utter out of their mouths are, "We are pledging allegiance to the king and his heirs." Isn't that pledging to a foreign entity as well?
Carlo, you recognize that we have a constitutional monarchy whereby the king or queen is the head of state. The governor general sits as his or her representative. So until we make the necessary provisions to become a republic, our head of state is still the king or queen, whichever one holds that position, male or female, and the governor general being his or her representative. So we have to make provisions.
Okay, what I'll do at this point, I'll move away from that, and I'll probably try to converse with you, privately or whatever. And if the leader can give us her contact number as well,
yes,
that would be good. That way I can call her directly.
No problem, bro.
And maybe I'll just leave it there for now, and I'll think about some other stuff, and I'll come back in later.
No problem. Thank you for your call. So, based on what Burl has been saying, I think Burl talked about, and this is a question for the political leader. He said that you announced 4 candidates. We confirmed 1 and 5, and announced 2. That is 4 out of the 8. And why not do a full slate? Are we prepared for an election considering that you have announced it 4? I think, I can't recall what he said in relation to Nubian, but I gather that you remember those questions that he asked.
I don't. I remember him asking.
I think he was saying when persons ask the questions, answer honestly. If you went on to your underwear, and then he was saying, what if I think this was a general. If things come up from in the past,
Right.
how would we address them as a political party? I mean, it has to be the truth. That's the first thing.
Yes,
So,
that's another question. If
I
things come
mean,
up in the past, how we will address
it
it?
has to be something that is honest and truthful, because I would not put myself or anyone on my team to defend some sort of rumor. What I will have them do is defend their name. It is, there is something defamatory, libelous, or can even put them and their career, their family into disrepute. Yes, it is always good to have persons whose background is the best. However, some persons are hell bent on trying to destroy others, and we have to recognize that for some reason or the other, some people just don't like some individuals, and they will do what they have to do. But I hear you. If it is an issue arises, and it is something that is from the past of anyone, and that can be defended, and that has a reasonable explanation, I would say that we approach it at the best level that we can, based on how it was dealt with. In relation to whether or not we are ready for an election, we are ready. We are being strategic in terms of what we do and how we do it. And so, yes, Mr. Burl, you may be saying, well, what happened to the rest of the slate? Well, I don't know how many other political parties there are or how many independent persons there are, but at least from the last election until now, PAM is the only party that has announced candidates. No other party. I mean, you've been hearing rumors here, there, and everywhere. We don't know if the Labour administration will be going back with the same slate. So PAM is ahead in the game. Whilst persons might be saying, oh, well, PAM announced a full slate, we are ahead in the game. No other party, none, has announced any candidates.
Yes. So, Mr. Greer, and I know we were speaking about some of the issues facing the country, and you spoke about some of the issues in Central Bastille. And are there, I mean, you do your house to house, you meet with persons within your constituency. I mean, you have Henderson, who is the representative for Central Bastille currently.
Right.
And we look at persons, and I mean, there was a video of her when she was campaigning, talking about housing for the people of number 2. And there was someone who made a comment when I spoke about that on Unfiltered, saying that up to now, as Minister of Tourism, she has not fixed the bathrooms in the Pelican Mall. How is it she can deliver housing solutions for the people of Central Bastille? And you have spoke about what your plans would be in terms of the landlocked areas.
Correct.
And what your plans would be. So I urge the people of Central Bastille to put their trust and support in you, because currently I have not seen much that representative has done in constituency number 2.
I was on another radio station where a taxi man called in, frustrated about the bathroom situation, and all we were waiting for is for somebody in authority to give us the permission to fix the bathroom down there. They have porta potties. The tourists have to use porta potties. The vendors in the Pelican Mall, as far as I understood, have to go outside and use porta potties. And I have persons in the community and outside the community who says, listen, if they give us, because you just can't go in there and fix the bathroom, it belongs to the government. If they give us permission, we would fix the bathroom. It doesn't have to come out the government pocket.
And then we looked at the airport. Just last couple of weeks ago, we had heavy rainfall, and the airport completely swamped. And there might be persons who said, well, in other Caribbean islands, there were the issues similar, but this is St. Kitts and Nevis. We should be the example. We should not be a federation that compares ourselves with mediocrity. You understand? I recall being the lawyer at the port, and there were contracts that were done in terms to get the airport roofing fixed. And so, to my mind, under the last administration, things were being done to address those concerns. I don't know what happened after.
Remember, this administration doesn't like continuity.
Mhm.
They
When
don't
it suits
believe.
them.
Yes.
When
When it
it suits them.
suits them.
When it suits them. Government is continuous when it suits them.
Like raising their salary.
Yes, yes. When it
And
suits
saying
them.
it was a recommendation by the last.
Yes, when it suits them.
So you look at it, and I must ask myself, and I'm sure many persons have asked themselves, what has the representative for constituency number 2 really done outside the box? We have a caller. You're live on Unfiltered. Caller.
Yes. Good evening, folks. Good evening, Mr. Azad.
Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening, Miss Gray.
Hi, how are you?
And the Nubian.
Yes, man. Good evening.
My name is Winston Welcome. And I have a question. Should anyone could answer, but I prefer the political leader. Should Pam really want to become victorious by whatever amount it takes to get them over the threshold? Let's say, for instance, it takes 6 seats to run the government, right? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes.
Let's say there are other candidates from other parties become victorious also. Let's say it's 11 constituency in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. So Pam gets 6 and the rest split up among other parties. Now, the amount of business and due diligence need to be done in the Federation. 11 candidates, there might be probably over 20, 30 major project assignment need to be done. Would Pam be willing to spread the portfolios as much as possible? Because to me, one candidate will be too loaded with many portfolios. Now we are all in this together. Whether there will be some against in terms of voting, some will be for, some will be neutralized. They have all kind of decisions. But to make it work, would you be willing to split the portfolios? Because not just the ministers have the ability to complete everything in what they campaigned on. But how about the load might be too heavy, and you could spread the portfolios, spread the what needs to be done? Would your party willing to do that?
Carla, before you go on,
Because
right? And I know you said the political leader would answer this, but you understand that how
Anyone?
yes, I'm going to allow the political leader to answer it, but I just want to bring some context to that question. You realize that persons, when they win their seats, I guess, you'll have to have a coalition for that to even be possible. They would have to come alongside with the People's Action Movement. You recognize that?
Yes. Understand that in the spirit. Because remember, you got the mass, but the portfolios that is waiting for your party who win, it's too much for the candidates. And candidates will be loaded and overloaded. And when you have too much in your hand, you cannot get one done. And the aim is to get it done and satisfy the people.
So what are you saying? You're saying, therefore, that persons would form a government with the People's Action Movement if they're candidates from Labour who are successful, the candidates from the PLP who are successful, NRP or CCM, they would then come together and we have a full 11-seat government where they all is led by the People's Action Movement. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, lead by the People's Action Movement because you are all victorious. And it's not even to say a coalition because 6 6 give you the victory. Okay?
Yeah, but they
5
remember, Carla, that we have government and opposition. So if it is that they want portfolios, they will go into the executive, which is outside of parliament, meaning that they now will come to be part of the executive, the cabinet. The cabinet is separate than a parliamentarian, and so they would then be part of the government machinery in cabinet, part of the executive branch. And that is where you would need a coalition. There must be a coalition if they're coming from other parties.
I will prefer you to say collaboration, because coalition is 2 or 3 come together to bring mass, to outnumber the
Because what I don't want you to confuse is the executive and the legislator. There's an overlapping of the two, but they're separate entities.
Okay, let's leave the opposition. Let's leave. But would you be willing to spread the portfolios with, after interview, with people who you think might be capable and qualified?
Okay.
I remember you ministers have lots.
Thank you, Carla, for your contribution.
Okay, Mr. Gums, try to explain the difference between the executive and the legislature. Once these parties have not been successful in terms of forming the government, they would not be involved in the business of cabinet. What you were explaining seems to suggest that even though these political parties are in the minority or are in the opposition, would the government be willing to give portfolios to members of the opposition? I think that is how I understood it, and that would be something that can become very problematic. In terms of carrying out those duties, they would have to form part of the executive arm of government. Mm-hmm. And so I'm not sure how what you're proposing would become feasible.
Then it would mean that those persons who are successful but members of the other party would then have to come into government.
And I'm not even sure if they would be because you would have had 2 diametrically opposed campaigns. Well, I don't know how many campaigns, but at least 2 diametrically opposed campaigns. And here we are right now complaining of the fact that those who are in office now are not doing a good job. We would have to look at our team who are successful, whoever is appointed senators, and look at the skill set and see what portfolio best fits the different individuals so that we can represent the people.
And I think it would be kind of hypocritical to say that these persons aren't performing and then at the grand opportunity bring them in, because what are they going to do different? They have already failed the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. They have a clear mandate. They have the 6 seats available to them now. And they're not doing anything for the people. They're traveling up and down. They're giving promises that are unfulfilled. I mean, if few of them are successful at the polls, then we've already seen their track record. And what else can they bring to the table that they're not bringing now? We have a caller. We lost that caller. Yes. We have that caller again.
Yes, Mr. Azad. I think you all put me on mute, so I could... No, what you just said, I wasn't going that far. I am not talking... First of all, Labour is out for me. Labour is in...
Then be clear, because when you're not clear and precise, then it's open to wide interpretation.
Let me be clear. Seeing that the misunderstanding did not clarify. I'm not talking about the current government, but any other candidate party. Okay? Because all of us are competing to get
let me see what you're getting. You're saying, let me see if I could get what you're saying. You're saying, I know that you want to run as an independent candidate.
Let me say. Don't go in my head. Let me say.
Okay.
Let me say. No one is invited in my head.
Okay.
I am saying everyone is competing against everyone. Mm-hmm. But everyone is competing against the the present government.
Yes.
Now, if the present government won one or two seats, I can see you injecting them into any portfolio.
Okay.
Okay? So that's out. All I'm saying, the other party, because we are all in this together for the best for the people moving forward. It is the people's business.
Then be
And it
clear
is
with
the
the other
people's
parties.
business.
And yes, we have other calls
Okay?
coming in, caller. So be very quick.
Okay, let me wrap this up. I have another thing that needs to be addressed,
Hmm.
and that in respect to. Anyway, I'll just let another caller come
Thank
in.
you so much,
That's
caller.
gonna go.
Yes, and of
Thank
course, the
you.
People's
Bye.
Action Movement has always been open to communication and collaboration. In 1984, PAM won 6 seats and didn't need anyone else to form government, but we still invited the NRP to have portfolios. We have a caller. Go ahead.
Yes, let me get back in. Okay, let me try to assist that caller there. It just seems to me that let me just throw the question out there, generalization. A party that's vowing in the next election is not a favorable party for the PAM, but the PAM needs them to form the government. Are we going to link up with them?
Okay.
And it's a lot to be said, a lot to throw. They have a lot of questions on here, man. I noticed no one has talked about is the Labour Party. They had signed a code of ethics. I noticed no one talked about that recently. Are we going to see the PAM party follow in that lead, and are you guys are going to, make any statement towards that? My problem is, in light of this new Christoph Harbour saga, it's been going on for what, 3 weeks, 3 weeks at least.
Mm-hmm.
So, me personally, and the MSR, which I don't really want to say too much about, the MSR situation, which took us back to 1984. So when you go back to 1984 and you come forward to today, what we are seeing is the behavior patterns of these leaders. They put their hands on the Bible and they swear to an oath. In my humble personal opinion, all of them has broken their oaths, because you get married to a lady and you start lying to that lady. And I know there's a lady on the panel, and I want to know how she feels if she has a husband, and you guys do if you guys got a wife, and you all husbands and wives come home and start lying to you guys. In my humble opinion, the moment that lying starts, that oath is broken right there. Then when we look at these behavior patterns of all of these lawyers these leaders, over all of these years, it just seems like they all have broken their oaths. I mean, where do the country go from here? How are we going to stop that bleeding? The Christoph Harbour situation, in my humble opinion, the people, based on all the money they dumped into that entity, the people of St. Kitts and Nevis need to own that Christoph Harbour 100% instead of 30%. And concerning that, we still ain't got the sale price of the marina from the Prime Minister yet. And we are talking about transparency. Where is the transparency? Going back to Nubian, I just wanted to get a brief synopsis on his background so the people who don't know him can get that information. And at the Christoph Harbour, since you guys are talking about specifics, who is responsible for security at that marina? And customs, is there going to be a customs post there to search these people that's coming into the Federation? Is that a point where guns are coming in? Is that where the guns are coming in over these past years? They've been operating.
Mm-hmm.
And, a lot to talk about and a lot to ask, man. But let me just throw a big question for the leader. What are the goals of the party? Instead of the regular okey-doke, the regular things about fixing streets and all of these little simple things, that's part of the job. Where is the big goals? What kind of goals do you all have for St. Kitts and Nevis as a federation and a whole to strengthen up relationship between St. Kitts and Nevis? What goals do you guys have going forward? what big ticket items are you guys planning on tackling? Mahon, one of the specific callers, he's been asking for the constitutional and electoral reforms, and I'm right behind him as I came on board on being a caller on these talk shows recently. We've been talking a lot on these talk shows, and the lawyers them on the ground, we don't see them challenging any government, any issues in court to represent for the people. These are the type of stuff that I'm concerned about. What big ticket items are you guys planning on tackling going forward to bring the people their quality of life and stuff like that up, uplift the people?
Okay, thank you,
I'll
bro.
leave it there, man. You guys have a good night. Yeah,
You
thanks a
too.
lot. You guys have a good night. Thanks.
Okay, so one thing that he asks about is what are some of the plans for the People's Action Movement has for the country, and I'll allow the political leader to go ahead with that one.
No, I know he spoke about big ticket items. He's not thinking about roads and whatever. That's the job. But one of the things that we also have to recognize is that is the job of the present administration. But we recognize that has not been happening at the pace that it ought to, and that is going to become a issue that we have to fix and provide solutions for our people. So whereas you're speaking about electoral reform and constitutional reform, which has always been on the platform of the People's Action Movement. I mean, we campaigned on these issues elections before. We got a semblance of a electoral reform sometime back. I think that was in 2010. We spoke about voters' ID with fingerprint and all these things, and these things have not yet been rectified, and they're still on the front burner for the People's Action Movement. There are a number of other big ticket items. I spoke about a number of things at our convention last week in terms of creating an avenue for economic diversification, green jobs, and making sure that we can use the energy that we have here to fuel our country. And so one of the things I also spoke about in terms of access to capital for our small businesses. And there are going to be a lot of other things that we are going to unveil sooner rather than later to the public. However, we don't want to put certain things in the public domain until we are ready to have it at its final stage. And so just stay tuned. Very well. Stay tuned, and you will hear of the plans of the People's Action Movement in a manner that you would want to.
We have another caller. Caller, you're live.
Yes, I'm going to be straight direct to the political leader.
Okay, hold on there, welcome. Before you go, just hold on. I just want to make a point with Burl, since that you calling again. Burl talk about big ticket items, right? And we understand that the political leader has given the answer. But the reason why I continue to speak about roads and that, you do the one-on-one and the walkthrough. And when you go to a person's house and you say, what are the concerns that you have? They say the road. You go to a next person's house and you ask them, what are the concerns you have? And they say, you look out there and see me concern there, and you just look at the road. Right. Trust me, when you become a representative or candidate, you understand? Your concern has to be the people's concerns. So I like to say this. I am not going to say, I am coming with a bag of solution for you. You must tell me what your problems are and what you want me to address. Yes. And so if you're going to tell me the roads are a problem, then I'm going to speak on the roads, because the roads is what concerns you most. So go ahead now, welcome.
I agree to that. What you said. My thing is, I'm going to say it here. Is the PAM party willing to give free health care to the people of St. Kitts? Is the PAM party willing to create social services that people who are facing hard times will have a safe haven? And there are hard times and everyone are in. Will the PAM party improve education? Will the PAM party improve the infrastructure from Tutmum and Sam and Bagay? Okay? Will the PAM party try to treat equality whether you vote for me or you vote against me. Will the PAM party willing to be diversified in sharing the workload instead of ministers overloaded, share it to get the job done for the people's benefit in respect to quality of life?
Okay, so
Will the
welcome.
PAM party?
You have asked a lot of
Yes.
questions, so just allow the questions to be answered. So you talk about
I
you,
drop it them in a nutshell, and then you could pick out whichever you want.
no,
If
but
it's
we
too
want to
long,
we want to be
or
able to
what?
answer all of them. So you asked about free healthcare. We recognize that under the last administration there were plans in place for universal healthcare. So that's the one that we're talking about. We must assess the situation as it comes and see what is available, so the People's Action Movement can make the best decision. You talked about,
Okay, good.
you
Hurry
see,
up.
there are a number of things that you talk about, and because you're talking and listing them, one has to be careful not to miss them. What else did you talk
He
about?
spoke about the roads and infrastructure, which is something that we said the people have been asking about issue with the infrastructure, and that is something that we continue to do. And so I mean, I understand you want specifics, and so we will probably need to have maybe a one-on-one with you specifically.
Yes.
Well, I'm going to tell you. Like I said, I am coming in as an independent. Should I win, why one seat? It is only one independent coming. And I shall,
Which constituency
I
are
shall
you interested in, Mr.
And this
Welcome?
is the point I know Welcome was making.
Number
Now,
eight.
Welcome.
Number
eight.
8? Okay.
I like to challenge. I like to challenge leaders.
Okay.
I don't
all right.
challenge. Okay, and I'm challenging leader with no fortune or favor. And if I win that seat, I'm not going to say if. When I win that seat, and I shall win that seat. Okay, let's say Pam gets 6 or 5. Would Pam work with me? Because I will be the wild card. If Pam gets the 6 and form the government, would I get a portfolio in something that I claim that I can handle? Because
No, Welcome. No, you have been very direct. That is what I thought you meant when you brought up the question. You've been direct now.
Well,
we have another caller too. We lost that caller? Okay, we lost that caller.
You want me to drop mine? I'll drop mine and allow someone else to come in if you wish. I just need an person. I have many, you know.
Welcome on the ground.
And I think I should be someone who you all can reach out to.
I just asked
can't
Azad
help
if you're on the ground. Are you on the ground, Mr. Welcome?
I am not on the ground yet. I have a mandate.
I hope you don't have dual citizenship.
No, I'm not.
Okay, great.
I'm not. I saved myself for that because I came to America as a sleeper until I wake up. I'm awakening
Okay, all right.
now. And I wouldn't let those things interfere with my cause.
So I think if you are successful in your bid, then and you are willing to work with the People's Action Movement and you have the shared values of the party, I don't see no issue. But
I'm willing to work with anyone.
yes.
But I know I'm working for the people. Should I get the chance?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm not party blind. This isn't a party.
Loyalty. You're about the people.
I am about the people.
One of these days, Mr. Welcome, I think you should. Is that it? Because I don't know. The voice is very, very good. So I'm not sure if you're the same person. He shared his number with me before,
I think
or maybe it was Burl.
Maybe it was
I'm in the
Mr. Welcome.
humanitarian.
Okay,
I'm in the
but
humanitarian.
maybe we should have a conversation,
Yes, yes.
Mr. Welcome.
Well, as I have my number and we could have a conversation.
All right.
Yes, okay.
I don't care what party win. I'm trying to do whatever needs for the humans.
It sounds like you want to put in your application for Constituency 8 with the People's Action Movement. We have another caller. We have another caller. Welcome.
I yield to them.
Yes. So, caller. Good night. Good night. Good evening. Good evening.
Good night.
Good evening. How are you?
And good night to Shani
Good night, Jamdal. How are you?
and the Central Bar State candidate.
Yes, I. What's up, brother?
We the poor people want to know, you know. Hello?
Yeah,
Yes.
we're listening.
Yeah, we the poor people want to know what kind of drive Pam got to clean up Bastille. No, Shani, look at East Bastille. Look at the nastiness going on in this Bastille. What you all trying to do? The central Bastille vagabond where we had there first. He said he was going to clean up Irish Town, McKnight, And McKnight and Newtown is the two stinkiest place right now, presently right now in Bastille. And we want these things, the political dynamics changing thinkers, and we want you all to understand that, because it looked to me like some of the PAM hierarchy elites, they dropped behind, It looked like they lost. They still feel this colonial politics thing going working, thinkers.
Okay, Jamdong, I'm
You
told that we have
can't
other...
putting people against one another. Because we ain't going on the road no more, We're not going on the road no more.
Okay, thank you,
You
Jamdong.
can't bring enemies to me and come tell me vote for this, no vote for that. What them things done with?
Jamdong, thank
Them
you.
things done with, Shani.
Thank you for
And
your comment.
We all want you all. You especially, Shani, you're the leader of the party. Don't let nobody tell you what to do. Because they can't come. They can't come face people,
Okay.
Up to now, we put a man there from since 1980. You come and know his tongue. And when he reach away.
Okay. Thanks for the concerns, Jamdong. And I heard you about the cleanup.
For your tongue and know his tongue, I don't get it. Have a good night.
Thank you, Jamdong. We
wish
have
you
another...
all the best.
Thank you. We have another caller. So, caller, you're live?
Yes, good evening.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
The reason why I'm calling, the young man called, say he going to come in and run for a seat.
Yes.
Seems as though he live overseas.
Yes.
If he lose that election, what he going to do? Catch the plane the following day?
Mm-hmm.
Well, he seems to be committed to wanting to help the people, so I am not sure what his plans are post-election.
What I'm saying is, he's going to come in and run for that seat. If he lose, he have a green card. If he lose, he's not going to stay in St. Kitts.
Mm-hmm. I see.
The only thing he's going to do, come in there and split the vote.
I get what you're saying. Thank you for your comment.
And the other one more thing.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
One more thing. All my life, I used to live in St. Kitts.
Yeah.
And people going to come and say, I love the poor.
Mm-hmm.
Who want to born a poor and then die poor? Hello?
Yes, we're listening.
Tell me one person, every person who born, they should, when they die, they should leave the world better than how they came in.
Yes.
I remember one time, and that time it was Labour Party. That was the old party at the time in St. Kitts. That time he had Fitzroy Bryan, he had John Payne, and those guys. I think Lee Moore. And one guy stand up on the lawn, he said, I love the poor. At the same time, he was rich.
Yeah. Caller, we have another caller calling in. I want to thank you for calling to the program and sharing your concerns and your opinion.
Azad, I was going to let everything go through, but that caller just now,
Welcome.
he needs to know what... yes,
Welcome.
he needs to know what I will do.
Welcome.
Yes, sir.
You see,
No,
I'm not saying that you can't call in so many times, but I'm not aware. All I know that there are callers coming in, and I would have cut him short because I thought there was, so yeah. So
let me flip this in.
Yes.
If I come and run, yes, I'm in the US now. My heart is home to help. If I come and run and I lose, I don't know what I will do until I do. That's the answer. Because St. Kitts is my home. No one could chase me. Okay? I make that decision. That's my life.
So I hope the caller before you is listening, so he would have gotten the answer that he was seeking.
Yeah, I done. I am done. I don't know what I will do until I do.
Okay.
No one know what they will do until they do. So that's not a question I can future answer.
Okay.
Bye for now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any more calls? Okay. So the caller before, I apologize. I know you were making some points, and I know. Okay. Caller, you live?
Yeah. So let me click it in. Yeah. If I come and run, just have it in your. Hello.
Hello. Yes, caller.
Good night, sir. Good night to you and party leader Natasha Gray.
Yeah.
I got a series of questions. Mr. Nubian, good night.
Yes, good night. Good night. Brother.
I'm calling from overseas. I got a question pertaining to housing. Is there any laws on the books for St. Kitts that they can't go above 3 floors? Because since housing is a big issue and there's a lack of land, can you guys go above 3, 4, 5 floors when you're building an apartment like the one on Wellington Road and the one in Irish Town? Can you guys build apartments up to 5 floors in all constituencies? That's my question for the night. Thank you.
I believe that there are covenants in certain areas that prohibits the construction of homes above, like in Greenlands, there's a covenant that you can't build a 2-story house in Greenlands, and it still stands up to today. But I'm not sure if there are other covenants that prohibits going above 2 or 3 stories.
Yeah, I'm actually checking the planning laws to see.
Yeah. I know, caller, that's a concern, and it's something definitely we have to address in terms of the building code. There would be some regulations that would prohibit in some aspect, that persons have to build within safety, considering the atmosphere or the environment that we're in, hurricane prone and the like. And so that is a concern that we have, because we have to start about thinking about building up, but we have to build up safely
in
as well.
Central and Bastia and
Yes.
East Bastia.
Yeah. So we have a caller.
Yep.
You still there?
Yes, hello?
Hi, caller.
Yes, as many questions as we can tonight. And I will encourage that caller that got cut off to come back in, man, if you can. Real quickly, last question for me for the night. We've been watching and seeing how the talk is being
Mr.
about
Knight?
agriculture.
Who's Mr.
You still
Knight?
there?
Who's Mr. Knight?
I didn't think he said Mr.
Oh, he didn't say Mr. Knight. Okay. Go ahead, caller.
Okay, let's get straight to it. We've been seeing how the agriculture, minister, or we've been faltering in agriculture. Not enough investment in that industry. And with the rollout of the marijuana, the medical marijuana industry, do PAM see any need to have a farmer on their ticket to get this agriculture thing straightened out and strengthened up, and so we can make them advancement that we need to make in agriculture, so we can become food sufficient as an independent nation? Do you guys see a need to have a farmer on board? What of both of those Flanders brothers? Thanks a lot.
Well, you mentioned it correctly. We have the Flanders brothers, and I also grew up on a farm for many years. Worked on a farm for many years, so I'm quite au fait with what we need as farmers, as well as the Flanders brothers. So I believe that our ticket has more than enough persons who understand the importance and the need for food security. And even outside of the need for food security, we understand the opportunities that can be derived and can be had for our people, our poor people, to put themselves in farming and be successful. We import so much millions of dollars of products that can be grown here. You understand that there are stuff like apples and pears that can't be grown here, but all the rest stuff that can be grown here, we provide opportunities for our people to get into farming and get into processing of agricultural products, from agricultural products that are grown here locally, and we could export and bring well-needed revenue into St. Kitts and Nevis.
Yeah. Also, when you look at the building code, when the Marriott Hotel came here, there was some changes made from the 3 floor to the 5 floors. So changes can be made based on what the priority is. Of course, ensuring that the regulations are suitable enough to make sure that the building is safe. So we can always make changes. I think that the caller call and asks about farmer being on the ticket, and I think, and we are all inclusive. I think what the caller is fearful of, and they have seen a Labour administration whereby you have persons there who are clueless as to what to do. But the People's Action Movement, where there is perhaps a necessary skill that is necessary to ensure that the team functions well, we are not afraid to bring in persons who will give the necessary advice. If we look at the Labour Party, and what the Labour Party has done is to award persons who might have been loyal to them a seat at the table. I'm not saying that you're not supposed to give those persons loyal to you, but at the detriment of the country. I like to say this. I had a conversation with somebody yesterday, and I said to them, you have a team, and you realize that you want to strengthen the team, right? Are you going to therefore add people to the team who bring no merit? You're going to make sure that you scout out persons outside of the talent that you have to add to the team. And so whereby there might be a minister of agriculture, and I would assume that minister seeks out the necessary talent to strengthen his or her ministry where he or she may lack. We don't see that happening with Labour. We have 2 callers. Caller, you're live. You're live. Go ahead. Caller. Caller. Okay. There's someone. Go ahead. Okay. Okay. Yes. So we're gonna have 2 more calls. So the callers could call back. Go ahead.
Right, but to add to what you're saying, we have people here in St. Kitts who studied agriculture in university that can add to a team of persons to build out our agricultural infrastructure.
That's so true.
And we don't have to go overseas. We have it right here. Look at what they did with the East Coast Housing Project. We have contractors here who could have do well with them jobs, building low-income houses for the low-income people of our country.
But you see that they don't like to tap in to the skill set that we have right here.
And that is why we
and
keep
it's
losing.
about, having some deals with the foreigners, and then we find ourselves in problems.
And that's what always happening. And we could, what that money could have done, the money that is still outstanding, what that could have done in terms of building a few homes. How much families could have benefited from that set of money that was paid already, whether it was the mobilization or whatever. We could have gotten at least 100 homes from that. 100 low-income families could have houses, and also a whole set of contractors could have found jobs for themselves and for their workmen to be happy at the end of the day.
So we have a caller. Thank you, Nubian. We have a caller.
Yes, sir.
Turn down your radio.
I done. The radio done.
Yes.
Good night.
Good night.
I try to listen to your logic, political logic. Try to understand it as, how should I put it, a layman in politics. And I recognize that you're a cheap young person there trying to take on a corrupt form of politics, Most corrupted thing could ever exist on God's face of the earth. So I know that you all are very interested in want to be part of the corruption of the system. Because in reality, none of y'all would ever do anything perfect that do not involve corruption in it. If y'all have to be elected. Because that's the nature of it.
Caller,
I analyze as a young man. Love politics,
and understand it in a layman form, you all are fighting against the present government and the scheme of things of the present government and giving the ears and the mind of other people that you all can perfect what they are doing. And there is no such truth. PAM is the same corruption. Unity is the same corruption. Labor is the same corruption. But you know what the whole fundamental reality of this politics thing? There's a young labor now that exists. And it appears that you all are trying to distinguish the young labor, Joe, as an unqualified person to run the country. But in reality, three of you all, Newbie and Griot, you know me well, and my name is John Chrysostom. I'm a member of the Orthodox Church, and he was a member, but he deteriorated, and he gone into politics, into corruption, he gone into other things, but he need to come back because he's no close vote for him winning that seat. I predict that the last but don't take finish what I want to say. You all are trying to diminish the present government reality and their works. You all don't have a proper structure of governing the country. But that's not true. Joe is in there to almost all you all are not giving the Prime Minister a fair opportunity. That young lady, she barks like a wolf. But if she become the leader of the country, she gonna cry.
Okay, so Carlo,
I'm listening.
you've said a lot of things and you contradict yourself. First, you
No,
said
I don't.
that.
I can't. I
No,
speak
listen,
reality.
listen
I
to me.
speak
Listen to
reality.
me.
Don't insult my intelligence.
I gave
Don't
you
let
opportunity to
myself.
speak. I gave you
Okay.
opportunity to
But don't
speak.
insult me because I never insult you.
No,
So
no. I
speak
said you
clear.
contradicted
Okay.
yourself. Listen to
In
why
what
I said
way?
that. Listen to why now I made a statement. I'm going to support that statement. Are you going to listen? I said that you contradict yourself because you first started out saying that we all want to be a part of a corrupt system. But in the same light, you're saying that we have not given Dr. Drew the opportunity to prove himself. And you have praised the Prime Minister, who is a part of the same corrupt system that you say is corrupt. So, in my mind, that is a contradiction. If it's bad from the start, regardless who's in it, it should be bad. And so I don't see how you could praise the Prime Minister to be in a system that you deem to be corrupt. Additionally, the system is not corrupt. Individuals who are part of the system may be corrupt because system in and of itself has no personality. It is the individuals that form part of the system that can be corrupt. Moreover, you have indicated your religious views, and we cannot fault you for that. If you feel that Dr. Drew is doing a good job, we cannot fault you for that. That is your opinion. Is there anything you'd like to say?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for the criticism. But when I would not go back into the corruption, I would move forward.
Okay, thank you.
I think it's fair and right and prudent enough, and within a human perspective, that someone who is taking on the world of thinkers in politics, that their people would agree, their people would disagree, their people would be impatient. The same reality would fall on you all if you're tomorrow. It's going to be the same conversation.
Caller, so
And
wait before you go on, right?
Uh-huh.
You said we have one more caller to go, but you're saying that regardless of who's in the seat, this issue would be the same, that they will not
gonna be
serve
the
the
same.
people of Sing. So then
Because
do you
all cannot
vote?
fulfill, because you all were not able to fulfill the positive agreement that you all make to the people. You are going to have a lot of shortcomings, and that is a part of the imperfection of politics. It's not a perfect thing. You have a lot of imperfection. So I need you all to understand politics is not a perfect thing.
So what is
The
your
system
solution?
is not perfect.
What is your solution?
The solution is give the man a chance, let him make his mistake, let him go.
The problem with John
Yes.
on the phone is that John don't live here. John lived his life in St. Thomas. So John ain't understand what's going on the ground. John ain't know how much people suffering a month time. John ain't know how much
Nobody
people
suffering, no
ain't
plan.
getting to survive. He don't know. And that is the problem.
Caller, we have another call on the line, so we'll have to end.
But just let me answer you.
Listen, John, we ain't going back and forth. We will not go back and forth on this. You have your opinion, and I respect your opinion.
Listen to me. You all is unfair, and you all is greedy, and you all is ungrateful.
Yes.
Because sensitive people is not suffering. You all like to put those kind of
Thank you,
negative
John. We'll take the next
ideas
call.
in people's head.
We'll take the next call.
People is
John,
living okay.
John, clearly you came here with an
As
agenda.
John does not live in St. Kitts, so John don't
Yes,
know
but I
what's
have to
going on
answer
in St.
Nubian.
Kitts. Take the next
Why
call.
Nubian don't take all his money that he have and help the poor people who is suffering?
John,
And help his father.
Yeah.
Help his father. His
Yeah.
father is suffering. Daniel Nubian, Abuna Shinoda is suffering. Why he don't take his money and help a suffering priest, a man of God, and his brothers, and whomever?
John, let me say this, right? John,
Have a good night.
You're
Have
okay
a good night. Have a good night.
Goodbye.
Yeah, we
Bye-bye.
we have another caller. Okay, we lost a caller. I have no issue with John supporting the Labour Party at all. I have no issue with anybody who wants to support the Labour Party or any other party. That is their right, and we cannot promote one party and say that the other person can't promote a party differently to what we promote. What I have a problem with is John is criticizing those who are seeking to oppose Labour, basically. That is the general basis. I've listened to John, who has contradicted himself from the start, saying that we three want to be in a corrupt system, but yet praise the Prime Minister who's part of the corrupt system, and then say we three should do something else other than opposing the Prime Minister because he's saying that we're not giving,
And for that we are ungrateful and greedy.
Yes. So John just come out at the start and say you support Joe, you like what Joe doing,
Exactly.
and you want to vote for Joe and want Joe to continue to keep the people of St. Kitts and Nevis in bondage. Say that.
And that's why I told you, John does not live here. So John ain't know what's going on the ground. And
So he has not been experiencing the harsh realities of St. Kitts and Nevis.
Exactly. He ain't got to deal with the roads. He ain't got to deal with the faulty infrastructure. He ain't got to deal with the rising of prices of everything all around. He does not know. What he knows is whatever Labour publicize and send out there, and he see it and he say, "Boy, yeah, Joe doing a good job," and that is what it is.
So John, yes. So again, we don't have any issue with you supporting the Labour Party, but just be fair with your analysis.
Tell John, come back to live in St. Kitts under his Jew administration, and then we see where Bali go. That's all. If you feel as though he's doing such a good job, why are you out there abusing from in St. Thomas? Come back to St. Kitts and live under the administration.
Mm-hmm. So I think we had a very interesting conversation this evening. I hope that our Facebook and YouTube listeners have given you some insight. I know there was a caller or someone who messaged about the healthcare system and how the party would address the healthcare system. I know that healthcare has been an issue for us here in St. Kitts and Nevis. We have a Prime Minister who speaks about building and constructing a new hospital, whereby the focus should be making sure that the personnels are equipped, making sure that the system is well oiled enough to support the people and the needs of the Federation. So he talking about an extra hospital whereby it is the machinery that needs attention and servicing.
And the staff moral needs to be up.
Yes. and of course, one has to look at the for me, this is me. For me, we look at the hospital. And for sure, we could look at, and it's a discussion that we could have, how can we make the hospital semi-government in the sense that it is run by a statutory body whereby you have your own set of individuals, you have CEO persons who are given that opportunity to make sure that the hospital runs to its maximum capacity.
Yes.
Separate and apart, of course, we have a Minister of Health, but alongside the Minister of Health, you have a statutory body that functions and operates the hospital to the best of its capacity. Because the Ministry of Health is a very heavy portfolio. We've seen persons take that portfolio and do nonsense with it because of the gravity of the situation, the gravity of the portfolio.
And one would have thought that seeing that portfolio is now held by a medical doctor, we would have seen some improvement in terms of our health system. And so, yes, we hear all the song and dance about what is to come and so forth. But what happens to the nurse who is working double shift, who has to get 2 hours sleep and come back? What about the patients that can't get the necessary medication at the pharmacy? What about the patient who is experiencing excruciating pain but has to wait hours? So, will a smart hospital fix all these things? But better to come under the People's Action Movement, because we don't just want to speak. Again, I said it before, we don't want to just talk the talk. We're going to walk the walk.
Yes.
And we're going to take advice as well, because we think we've seen too much square pegs in round hole, and that has been a cause of the problem that we are now facing here in St. Kitts and Nevis.
Yes, I want to thank both of you being here on the program, Unfiltered, another episode. Of course, we continue to speak on the issues. We continue to make sure that persons are well represented, and we continue to say that the People's Action Movement is a party that put people first.
Most
And
definitely.
so, as we conclude, it is a very sad time in St. Kitts and Nevis to be under this present administration, the Labour administration. But we will deliver.
One of the worst in the history of St. Kitts and Nevis. And it ain't only Mr. Size Labour people saying so.
And you know what we'll do? We'll deliver the people of St. Kitts and Nevis from the hands of the Pharaoh. Yes, so go ahead, Nubian.
Yeah, one of the callers asked me about my background. I am Nubian Greer, as you know, from Malone Avenue, just behind Mr. Prince Shop. Tambora Kitwana neighbor for a lot of years. Mr. Hartman neighbor just behind the foul pen right there in McKnight. And did the same thing. Went to Irishtown Primary School, junior high school, senior high school, then went to TechVac, where I did some electrical studies and got a scholarship to go to Cuba, and came back in 2005, and from since then I've been in my community, just doing my part to make a better community, and I've always been giving back to my community and my neighborhood, and now want to use politics as a platform to give back in a national way. It is only so much persons you could help out financially. It's only so much persons that you could take to the supermarket and buy a few groceries. There's only so much you could do. But I feel as though once you could get on a national platform and put policies in place that protect people and help people at the end of the day, and it's the best way to do it. Policies, I could help somebody today and the money and the food done tomorrow. But if we put policies in place,
It goes on for years.
it goes on for years and protect families for generation. And so I am happy to be a part of the People's Action Movement, where there are like-minded persons here who always want to put people first. This is a party of persons that has track record of service in their communities, and so I feel welcome, I feel at home, and I know in the next general election we will do well and we'll be successful. And our goal, not to become politicians or not to sit in parliament, but our goal to help people and make sure that the poor people of this country is finally put on the priority scale which they belong. I know that will be fulfilled once we work together with the people and with the party. I know that poor people would find a better future under the People's Action Movement.
Okay, thank you. Political leader, anything you'd like to add?
I think we've said a lot over the past hour and a half, but I must say that it's always good to continue to connect with our people. We hear the concerns day in and day out, and sometimes some of them are the same, but then when you get a unique concern, it makes you open your eye and wonder, wow, I never thought of that. And so maybe we have to be a little bit more creative in terms of how we address some of the concerns. And so I'm happy that we have our thinking caps on and we are trying to find meaningful solutions for the people of St. Kitts and Nevis so that we can uplift our people and make our nation greater, stronger, and one that many persons can not just survive in, but thrive in.
Correct. Exactly.
Yes.
That's a mission.
Yes. So thank you so much. The People's Action Movement will continue to put people first.
This can end in a serious dilemma. Now that the country been run by labor, this pure mayhem, scandal, disorder. With this Labour Party in power, is this a social club in disguise? Or some kind of criminal enterprise? What a menace to society this administration turning out to be. The PM got a so-called advisor, telling people how to get away with murder. This non-stop attack on the treasury with paper daddy and mommy sorry. This Labour bunch shot to the core, lacking integrity, that's for sure. Economy stalled, hard life crippling, we a collective menace, menace, menace to society. It's like it's all cheap and no India. It's like lunatics running the asylum without a plan, ideas or structure. It's the people who left to suffer. No pop, no peace, clear unemployment. No money for bills, much less enjoyment. Total advantage, that's we fake. Under these enemies of the state. AAG, daddy get lawyer.
The views expressed on this program were solely those of the caller and do not reflect the views of winnfm 98.9. winnfm reserves the right to disconnect any caller who infringes the law or offends the right of any person. The station will also refuse to take any call from any person who in winnfm's considered opinion is likely to expose the station to liability for statements made on the air.